Hi, my name's Dewey, and I'm going to make a really good, delicious confectionery called Brazilian Brigadeiro. A couple weeks ago, my coworker brought some chocolate, and I took a piece home and waited for my wife, gave it to her, and she took a bite, and it was like when Harry met Sally. I guess what I'm trying to say is she had a damn orgasm eating this chocolate. It's not necessarily the first orgasm that's ever occurred in this kitchen, but I'm trying to make this because I haven't seen her in 3 days, and I'd like to see what happens if I make her a bundle of them. These are the ingredients you will need. A nice tin can to put your Brigadeiro. Gloves to handle the Brigadeiro. I mean, how many times have you eaten something that someone you don't really know that well made, and you wonder, did they use their bare hands? You got to use these mini cupcake holders. And I actually ripped it apart and then went up to the cashier and said, hey, these are ripped. Can I get half off? 2 tablespoons of butter, which I've already pre-cut. High quality sprinkles. I went for high value sprinkles myself. Just a little pinch of salt. 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder. 1 14-ounce can of La Leche La Original Sweetened Condensed Milk. A sifter. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I hate these fucking things. And a spatula and a knife. If you're really adventurous like me, you'll add this. It doesn't necessarily go in the confection, but I find that a challenge makes me work harder. And if I can make something delicious and be a little twisted, well then it makes me feel even more like a rock star. These little Brazilian goodies, they're basically fudge, and then you roll them in a sprinkle after you're done. So I've already prepped that. I've also prepped the cocoa powder, which I was talking about the sifter earlier. I had to literally freaking run my fingers over the sifter. Like, this was a pain in the ass. I don't know. It was already in powdered form, but I had to take it to a lower level of powdery. I already have the condensed milk sitting here, and it's already in here. What you do is you take all the ingredients, and you put them in here, and you mix it first before you cook it. I poured this out, and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I realized it's condensed milk. It's like a gallon of milk turned into 1/8 of itself. It was weird, though. I thought it was tapioca. After you add the powdered cocoa powder and the butter and the pinch of salt into the sweetened condensed milk, then you mix it before you cook it. You mix it all up real nice, and then you start cooking it on medium-low heat. Once you've mixed it up, there's going to be a couple chunks of butter, and it's going to be impossible for you to mix that. So once you've mixed the cocoa powder with the sweetened condensed milk, then let's just turn it on. And what you have to remember is, once you turn it to medium-low heat, you have to constantly mix it. And then when it gets to the point where the fudge is barely going through the spatula's inserts, you got your shit ready. I have my son on stir duty right now, because the one thing you can't do is you can't stop stirring. You got to keep stirring. You got to keep stirring until that fudge barely comes through the spatula inserts. You just got to do it. The reason I prepared the sprinkles and the powder and the condensed milk prior was because sometimes, like a bad creditor, this guy will sneak up on you. So you got to be diligent, and you got to be vigilant, and you got to be ready. Now that it's almost fudge, we've got to take a break because you have to get this to room temperature before you can start rolling it into balls and getting it all sprinkled up. So appreciate it. Part 2 will be coming very shortly.